WDKN and W268B in Dixon, Tennessee, serving Dixon County.
Turn it up.
Streaming online at WDKN.com.
I love listening to it over and over. I love it.
This is 101.5 The One and WDKN, Dixon's country music home.
Where can you get information on the latest news and events in Dixon County? Right here on Know Your County on WDKN 1260 AM and 101.5 The One FM. Know Your County keeps you informed about events that matter to you. Now, here is your host for today's Know Your County.
Good morning, Dixon County. It's Saturday, and you are listening to Know Your County here on WDKN, AM 1260 and FM 101.5. We are also streaming at WDKN.com. I'm your host, Justin Spurlock, and we have a great show for you today. I've got Seth Williams here, and Seth is representing Wayfaring Event Services, which, if you don't know what that is, it is the event service that has been putting on a lot of the fun events in downtown Dixon that you've probably been to, and we know that you had a good time, and a lot of those events are scheduled again this year, and so Seth's going to come in and talk to us a little bit about that and just a little bit about him. Seth, thank you for coming and doing the show with me today.
Thanks, Spurlock. Appreciate you. I am a Dixon native. I grew up in Burns. Went to Stuart Burns Elementary School and went to Dixon Junior High, not the middle school. And then graduated from Dixon County High School in 2003, class 03. And went from there and moved out of Dixon in 2007, 2008. Moved out to Denver, Colorado, and lived out there for almost 10 years. And just in the past couple of years, COVID and life has brought me back to Dixon. And, it's like driving down the road, you have all these memories pop back up of, just growing up in a small town. When I moved out to Denver, it was talking to people and everybody. I was a bouncer out there for many years, and clubs, bars, venues, you name it, private security, I did it all. And everybody used to call me Southmouth, and it was like, I used to talk to them about cow tipping and all this, all the just the small town BS, And
so you grew up out here and Dixon County native, and then goes out to Colorado.
I was like, it was like Crocodile Dundee being like, man, look at the city. This is great. I got delivery. And I get delivery in the middle of the night. This is great. It was great. I lived right in City Park. So it was, growing up here in Dixon, hitting back roads, and it was the best thing you do was go hang out in the parking lot, and then I went to just started traveling and seeing the world, and ended up in Denver, and it was a big change. It was huge, but it was kind of funny because just the way you talk and the way everything acts a little different. I had like little old ladies following me and like Kroger talking to me and just wanting to talk to me. It was so sweet, I was just like, okay, like y'all are getting creepy now. Like I get it. I'm from the South, and I'm like the way I talk.
People definitely, and I've had the chance to move away for a little while for a job and stuff like that, and then of course I always end up right back here. But I noticed that as well. People kind of make fun of the way you talk and some of the things that you do, but I think people genuinely like Southern people and like being around us, and kind of some of the things that we do maybe rub off on them.
Exactly.
And so you end up in Colorado after living in Dixon County, and you did a lot of different things that kind of led you to wanting to put on like an event service, right? Tell us a little bit about kind of how you got into that whole world of putting on events and things like that. What kind of led you to what you're doing now?
Doing the security, just being a big guy, wanting to work hard. It was real easy for me to get jobs and do stuff while I was in college. When I graduated, I was still doing it, still working in events and working at venues and stuff like that. And I quit doing wind turbines and telecom towers after 2 years of just traveling, and went right into touring basically full time with the bluegrass band, and did that for almost 3 years. And so was learning just everything else on the ins and outs of the music industry on that side of things as well. But every year I had anywhere from 6 to 8 events that I did every year. I had a couple of festivals that I worked for 5 or 6 years every year. So that was my standard. It was easy for me to plan my year basically that way in between like touring when I was off or doing anything like that. So, but I worked from California, Lake Tahoe to Aiken, South Carolina to Stratton, Vermont. I've worked from 110 degrees to negative 20, from sea level to 8,000 feet.
So you got to, through being involved with the bands and events, you've got to travel all over the country. That must have been pretty fun.
It was. It's a lifestyle. That's the big thing. Yes, it's fun. It's great. It's for, people younger, and, you work your way up and, to do things in different positions. And I worked really hard as, moved up pretty quick, doing a lot of different things. And COVID hit, and it kind of really just put a hold on everything. During COVID, a lot of that industry that you were in got shut down. Yeah, 100%.
And so how did that affect you?
Well, depression. I'll tell you real bad, because think about your life. It's like, okay, well, you've got 5 or 6 things planned for your year. It's like your life. And then all of a sudden, boom, you have nothing. Like literally you have, no time frames of like if anything's coming back or when anything's going to restart. So basically, everybody that was in my industry and a lot of my friends and a lot of people that I've worked with for the past, 10 plus years, everybody had to restart and pivot, do the pandemic pivot into something else. So I started working on houses and doing carpentry, and as long as I've got a tool, I've got a job. So we were getting that extra $600 a month for the government, and I kind of got gypped out of my thing because my bands were paying me from New York State, and this whole thing, it was such a hassle. But I would take some of that money and go buy tools, and as long as I had a tool, and I just kept working, doing one job, going to another, doing another job, and just kept grinding and trying to do things until the music industry come back. And then I actually did a small tour this past September into October, and it's the new COVID regulations are just weird. Like you can't. A lot of people just you're alone. You're standing on stage. You can't get close to anybody else. Like even on our off days, we had to sit in our hotel room. Couldn't have any contact with anybody. We had to have our food delivered to us, and
that set things back, I think, a lot when all that happened, because a lot of people decided not to.
I had
a
lot of friends around the country lose everything, like literally everything, because, like I said, when I say a lifestyle, you're planning your year around these main festivals that you do, because you make so much money within a week to 10 days. That those are your big things that you plan around, and then all of a sudden, everybody, you have nothing. Like literally, it's not just 1 or 2; it's none of them, and especially when they're 20 to 100,000 people, and that's huge. That's huge for a lot of people, and the trickle down from that.
And so let's talk a little bit more about the events that you're doing here locally.
Okay.
And before we do that, though, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Know Your County here on WDKN. We've got Seth Williams in the studio with us, and we'll be right back here. Stay tuned.
Business internet is a must. Paying bills, sending emails, updating your website, running social media campaigns, even your phone and credit card machine need reliable internet. But your options are limited, and every provider has its drawbacks. That's why RFC Broadband for Business is here. A truly local business offering wireless high-speed internet options for your business. Affordable prices, no wires, no contracts, no data caps. RFC Broadband for Business, 615-375 8662 or rfcbroadband.com. Simple billing, rural coverage, and again, no contracts or data caps. It's all designed with you in mind. See the difference a local company makes. RFC Broadband for Business, 615-375-8662 or rfcbroadband.com. Currently not available in all areas. Call for availability.
In times of joy, in moments of grief, broadcasters come through, even when all else fails. Today, with more ways than ever to experience the moments that transform our lives, Americans still choose broadcast radio and television more than all other media combined. We are the local broadcasters of radio and television, reaching more people, touching more lives. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
And we're back here on WDKN. You're listening to Know Your County. I've got Seth Williams here in the studio with us, and he's been telling us a little bit about himself. He's a local guy here from Dickson County, grew up in Burns, lived here, grew up here, went to high school, junior high here, and then after high school, decided to move to Denver, Colorado. And when you got out there, Seth, he got into a lot of different things in the entertainment industry, and it took him all over the country. And unfortunately, because of COVID, that stuff sort of slowed down. And Seth found himself back here in Dickson County, but it sounds to me like you've used a lot of that knowledge that you've learned from being a part of these different events, from traveling with different bands. All this stuff has kind of led you to maybe wanting to do something here in Dickson where you're from, and that's my understanding is kind of how it led to what you're doing now. So kind of take us to how you end up back in Dickson. You've got this experience in the entertainment industry. You're wanting to do some stuff. Tell me how that kind of got started.
Well, I'm a bigger guy. I'm like 6'2", 360, and when I started going to concerts, people didn't have T-shirts in my size. So I started collecting posters, and even back when we used to have the Blockbuster and then the video store used to be there beside Kroger's, I used to go in there and dig through the poster box, and when they were like $5 or something, after the I was even that kid. My walls growing up, I always had posters everywhere, and I collected comic books. I'm a big collector, so over the years I really got into art. All of my tattoos I've designed. I've worked with like 3 different artists since I've started getting them. Just art's just my life. I've got into collecting music posters, and over the years, they've gotten really sought after because of social media and stuff like that. So people were just like, oh, well, I didn't realize that there was a poster. I bought a T-shirt, and T-shirts never last. So now everybody wants the poster to the show that they used to go to, and I'm like, well, I got 2. So I ended up with a very substantial amount of posters and art just from around the world. I've got stuff from some artists in Italy, France, the UK, Spain, Australia. I mean, you name it. I like art. I like all forms of it. And so it just seems like, a lot of crafts and stuff like that people do. That's a form of art in its own medium, and there's all different types of ways to have art. So that's why I kind of wanted to do the art walk, because Dickson didn't have anything like that. And then being from here, keep it local. I have a lot of friends that, stay-at-home moms that we went to school with, and people like that, second income and just want a hobby and, just to do something. And so I started reaching out to people and doing stuff. And, the first one I had was on Halloween. Halloween's my favorite holiday.
When was the first one? Was it?
Halloween 2021, because it was on Saturday.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I want to have my first event. I've done so many, but I've never done my own one on like that scale before. And it really wasn't even that big. I had 45 vendors or 48. that day, and then I set up a stage and had a 15-foot swing that I set up for like a photo booth and that I created, and it was a success. I had friends come from Murfreesboro, Knoxville, Memphis. I had friends come from everywhere to come to see what I was doing and support me.
So tell me, for somebody who's listening that maybe didn't go to the art walk, doesn't really know what it is, what exactly was going on with that?
So it's like a standard, just like a craft fair, but it's, I had different artists and artisans. I had, people that do these standard craft fairs where they'll make candles or they'll do cutting boards and, woodworking and signs and, reclaimed furniture, but everything was handmade or repurposed. It wasn't like going to the log cabin thing out there where you're going to get a yard sale. Like, that's not what everybody wants. Like, if they want to go to a yard sale, they'll go to a yard sale. But, this is stuff with love that's been put into it is basically the best way I can describe it. And, because I want to see the brush strokes. I want to see the love that people put into their craft and their art, because that's what people want to pay for. They don't want, nobody, if you want to go antiquing or you want to go hunt for something, you'll go do that. But, you want to see what people create, and what type of person creates these things, and you want to help support them. And I've done that with working with different artists and stuff, over the years doing, I used to do poster commissions, stuff like that. I've got some of my friends out in Colorado that own a printing company, that designed my Southmouth logos and stuff like that. They're called this TH exclamation point S. They do like all of the artwork and stuff and all the venues and stuff like that. So my life is really art driven and not on top of working with doing events. So I just went for it, and it was in a private parking lot. So I got permission and I just went for it. It was a huge success. Everybody made money. I had, everybody had fun. It was a big thing. So it started from there, and then.
Now, was that the first?
That was the very first one on Halloween.
That was what sort of kicked it all off.
That's what kicked it all off.
And then did that inspire you to maybe do some other events?
Yes, yeah. So we were going to go from that straight into another one for Christmas, like a couple of weeks later, but I had to cancel that one because I got COVID and I got sick and a week before, and it wasn't optimal for me to do it and I couldn't have done it.
Well, unfortunately, I think we've all had to kind of go through that.
COVID.
And maybe cancel some events we didn't want to maybe cancel.
It put a sour taste in some people's mouths and stuff. But ultimately, I had to think about the safety. I work with a lot of elderly people and stuff like that, so it's not me about getting sick. It's about the spread and trying to. At that point, there's still a lot of lives and stuff being lost because of this disease and stuff. And, just safety, all around safety. So I was like, okay, bit the bullet. It's part of it. I apologize. Refunded everybody, got everything resettled. And then, I had the president of the Downtown Dixon Association approach me about coming to one of their, meetings. And because I live downtown and I'm downtown. And I was like, yeah, sure, okay. I don't know who you guys are. Cool, no worries. So I went, and there was probably 5, 6, 8 people there. There wasn't many, and they were talking about this, talking about that, and a lot of them are everybody's a business owner and stuff downtown, and it's the president basically stood up in front of everybody. It was just like, he just did what I've been trying to get all of y'all to do. And he didn't ask for permission. He just did it. Like, this is what I've been trying to do. And I was like, okay. And, this is kind of where the first conversations about the street festival started. Because apparently they had been wanting to do something in the summertime. And I was just like, okay, well, yeah, I'll do it. But it's not free. Like, if you want anything that's good, it's not free. So, there's ways to make it happen and make it work. And so that's how January comes around. I had to start my own business, had to get fully insured, the whole 9 yards, for, to have the things that they were wanting to do. to work with a pyro company and to do things such as that. And the Dixon Association wasn't, they only had like 10 members at that time, or like a dozen or something, so they really couldn't, there was nothing they could really do. They only had a president. They didn't have like a board or anything. So I was like, okay, yeah. So basically I just started planning, and I was like, okay, had to meet with every business from downtown, get them all to sign off on shutting the streets down on a Saturday. And also, a lot of the boutiques and a lot of the businesses downtown, like, do you want your vendors, do you have some people in-house that you would like to set up in front of your business to help promote it? Do you want to do sidewalk sales? Like, I had all these ideas that I was working with, trying to promote with the businesses and stuff downtown to help them, because that's what they were wanting, was just to come in, they were wanting people to come downtown and to spend money and shop and do these things, and that's totally easy to plan. So I started working with vendors, started working with all of the businesses downtown. Every single one of them on North and South Main Street, I had to have them all sign off on a piece of paper, and they did. And then meeting with the city, I had to create these 3D models of the whole thing to show everybody kind of where my thought process was and what exactly they were going to be seeing. And it's with an event that size the first year, it's kind of a shot in the dark of how many people's going to show up or what's going to happen. And so the best thing I could do is just shoot for a number and and stick with it.
I think it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
Do we know how many people came?
So judging the parking lots. Okay, so judging the parking lots and all the parking spaces within each parking lot, it filled up to basically all the way to the Church of Christ, all of the parking lots up to past them, and then the church on or North Main Street past that, and then all the way up to basically my office all day. And it filled up even into my parking lot probably in the late afternoon when it started cooling down because it was really hot. And I'm guessing between, I would say 5,000 to 6,000, but it maybe 65 to 7 was
And that was the first year.
That was first year, man. Marketing's the big thing. I have some tricks and stuff that I do and how I do things, and it's just, you got to just know, it's just tricks of the trade, man.
Well, and I think Dixon was starving for some new
There was
events.
a lot of things. Yes, it was a perfect storm because everybody was wanting to get out, and then in Dixon as well needed something like that, and and also me as well, just knowing everybody. I was running into people from high school and stuff all day. It was great. I absolutely loved running into everybody. All of my events, I always run into people, some friends and stuff all the time from school, and I absolutely love it. And just getting feedback from people, and also learning from each event and learning how just to deal with Dixon. Dixon is a different type of people. We're proud. It's kind of funny because starting to work with all the businesses downtown, there's like 10 businesses there's 10 boutiques, and all of them basically have like the same business plan, all within 2 blocks. Like, it's so funny, and it took me forever. Like, how is this possible? Like, how does this happen? But if you think about it, how many Mexican restaurants do we have? I remember when it was just Caminos, but like everybody, is so diehard about the place where they go eat Mexican. Everybody has the one spot, has the same waiter on Friday or Saturday nights, and Dixon are just proud people, like we've always been that way. And, so everybody's in routines. Everybody's used to routines because it's a small town. That's what people do.
So let's go ahead and take another break. We've got Seth Williams here on Know Your County with us. We're here live this morning, Saturday morning on WDKN. We'll be back to wrap up the show here in just a second.
Business internet is a must. paying bills, sending emails, updating your website, running social media campaigns, even your phone and credit card machine need reliable internet. But your options are limited, and every provider has its drawbacks. That's why RFC Broadband for Business is here. A truly local business offering wireless high-speed internet options for your business. Affordable prices, no wires, no contracts, no data caps. RFC Broadband for Business, 615-375-8662 or rfcbroadband.com. Simple billing, rural coverage, and again, no contracts or data caps. It's all designed with you in mind. See the difference a local company makes. RFC Broadband for Business, 615-375-8662 or rfcbroadband.com. Currently not available in all areas. Call for availability.
In times of joy, in moments of grief, broadcasters come through, even when all else fails. Today, with more ways than ever to experience the moments that transform our lives, Americans still choose broadcast radio and television more than all other media combined. We are the local broadcasters of radio and television, reaching more people, touching more lives. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Does your vehicle need new tires or basic service before heading out on the big trip? Or maybe you're just going up the road. Open from 7 to 5 Monday through Friday and 7 to 1 on Saturday. The United Farm and Home Co-op Tire Shop can provide services like oil changes, alignment, brakes, and even suspension repair. With brands like Mastercraft, Firestone, Continental, and more, you will always get the highest quality service and products. United Farm and Home Co-op Tire Shop is your one-stop shop for all your basic repair and tire needs.
And we're back here on Know Your County. I've got Seth Williams here in the studio. We've had a great conversation this morning. He's been, first off, told us all about how you grew up in Dixon County and how he's a local guy. So that's fun.
Yeah. So we all grew up around here, and moving back here, it's, I know everybody. This is my town. This dirt's going to be here long after we're gone, and best we can do is just leave something better for kids and everybody else. And it's like I got 2 family cemeteries here, and all my family's from Van Leer, and and the Furnace, and coming back, when you see all these people, like things changing, and especially in Denver and Nashville and stuff, and coming through here, we're Dixon natives, and like I was telling you, our friends are the crosses on the side of the roads, and our all these fields with all these houses in them now. Like we saw those fields, when we've seen sunsets over them and everything else, and then here we are seeing houses go up, and it's hard, and people don't think about that, and it's just so there's a lot of pushback from a lot of people that are from here and that have lived here for many years, and and I know growth is part of life. It is, but there's healthy and unhealthy growth, and I think now things have kind of simmer down a little bit at least, and it's just and the first thing I saw was that damn that depot out in Burns, like where they're building that depot. I shot and killed my first deer when I was 8 years old. Me and my dad used to hunt that farm back when I was a kid, and it was so beautiful. There used to be a huge beautiful lake back there that we used to fish in and go swimming in. We used to it was so beautiful back there. Before they even built the 4-lane interstate, we used to have to go under the interstate, me and my dad, to go hunting on the other side of the property, and it was beautiful back there. So, when you see progress and things like that, it hurts, and it hurts us, everybody that's from here, because we have memories everywhere. Like on Main Street, one of the things I told the city about, I saw 2 of my friends get hit by a train right on Main Street, and right in front of me. I was going to pick up my tux from Fuzzles, so that was. And then 2 weeks later, they had the arms up on the on the crossing downtown. I'll never forget that. Nothing happened. They were fine, but it just spun her truck around. Taylor Irwin and Boo Holland. I'll never forget that as long as I live. But dealing with the city, that was one thing that they saw, that I have a passion for this place, and and working with everybody here, I want everybody to grow and enjoy this place just like we did. And downtown is nowhere what it used to be, when we were growing up. It was, we used to ride down through there, and uncap our headers, and they would just rattle the windows, down through there, and you just wah, 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 all the way down through there. And when I was a kid, my dad took me, we did a pigeon shoot on Main Street when I was a kid. In like 91 or 92. I've talked to a few people about this.
I've heard about this.
I was there. Like right on the corner of Fuzzles. I will never forget it as long as I live.
And this is usually the example people give when they say how kind of like Main Street has changed and how happening it is now. You can't get a parking spot anywhere. But back then, that kind of stuff was going on because it was a different.
Yeah, they did pigeon shoots for like 2 or 3 years. My dad was part of that. He did a lot of stuff here in the county or in the city and stuff, and my parents too, and your mom and stuff too. All of our people, are just really ingrained. Our roots are deep. Our roots are deep here, and we care about this town. All of our friends are everywhere working at all these businesses and stuff, and I want to just see things grow the right direction. But I started doing these movie nights as well because I could get licensing and stuff from some places. So. The first one I did, we did the Sandlot, and then I did Jurassic Park, and then I've got 2 more coming up this year, which we'll talk about, and I want to, I've got a couple more things coming up that it's going to be a lot of fun. So,
thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it, and thank you to the listeners for tuning in with us every Saturday morning. We'll be back next week with another guest at 7 o'clock on the Old Timers program, and then we'll be back here on Know Your County at 8 o'clock with another guest, and we appreciate you tuning in every week, and stay tuned to WDKN. We got some good music coming up for you next. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us for Know Your County on WDKN.
268B in Dixon, Tennessee, serving Dixon County.